Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Once someone has caught your eye, what is it about them that captures your attention beyond a few moments' gaze? It's never been one specific thing for me about a man or woman that catches my attention, but what holds my attention is their hands. My dad taught me how to shake hands when I was in elementary school. Our family was serving as greeters at church, and my dad wanted me to know how proper introductions and greetings were made in the adult world. He stressed the importance of eye contact and speaking clearly, but above all was the handshake. Always be sure to grasp someone's hand completely, firmly, and warmly, and shake it with purpose and presence and happiness to meet them. No bone crushing, and absolutely certainly no limp-wristed, wet noodle, feigning, ladylike finger clasping. I'm guessing Dad had to have known the value of those early handshakes. Lessons, for although it's never wise to judge someone solely on the first meet and greet, much can be learned from a handshake and a hello. Self-confidence, strength, sense of status, and general health are just a few of the things that can be assessed through a handshake. You've all heard the old cliche about the eyes being the window to the soul. I suppose that's true, but eyes can lie and play tricks too. So I find that the hands are a far more reliable judge of truth and sequence. A person's hands can tell you a great deal about their situational presence and their comfort level, their age and their general health, their general choices of professional and leisure pursuits, and most importantly, what they think of you. I was on a first date with a man who compared so-so with his online profile and the confidence and tenure of his voice in our previous phone conversations. His hands were a fragile white, and they were narrower than mine, across the palm, from thumb to little finger. His hands lacked details, such as knuckle lines or tendons rolling across warm skin, and they were completely devoid of character, like freckles and calluses. His fingers were stick-thin and long, and mostly lifeless, like empty pixie stick wrappers. As I watched his hands flutter and float through dinner, I became increasingly concerned that I was going to crush him, literally or figuratively. Needless to say, there was no second date. Maybe the reason hands are so important to me is because my hands are the most valuable tool I possess as an athletic trainer. Before every athletic contest that I work, I make sure that I introduce myself to opponents' coaching and medical staffs, the game officials, and any police or EMS on site. My handshaking habit is mostly selfish, as it allows me to establish a chain of command in the event of emergency, and it gives me an opportunity to make a quick and dirty assessment of potential helpers and hotheads. But also it's taught me two very valuable lessons. First, it's astounding to me the number of coaches who don't know what to do when a professional woman approaches them, introduces herself, and put out her hand. It's not so much that it's hang time, but I'm left hanging. And second, I've been told repeatedly across the country by referees, coaches, and administrators that I am remembered because no other athletic trainer does what I do, a pregame introduction. In my career, I've seen a lot of injuries. With each of those injuries comes pain, struggle, hard work, denial, bargaining, and in many cases, lying. A big part of my job is listening and watching, as much as to what my athletes say and do as to what they say and don't do. Keeping an eye on an athlete's hands during an injury evaluation can confirm or dispute the words that come out of their mouths, and sometimes even contradict the other body language cues the athletes create or fabricate to mask an injury. Dan Hagan, my college athletic trainer, told me that sometimes people just need to be touched. I thought that was kind of weird, but I have learned that he's absolutely correct. I have dealt with everything from a mild ankle sprain to a ruptured spleen, a broken neck, life-threatening lower leg injuries, and a potentially life-altering concussion. The common thread running through every single one of these injuries that I've treated was the response each athlete had when I reached out with one or both of my hands. My hands, my touch, created a grounding, a centering, a calming, a different focus. For some, it was only momentary, while for others, it started an opportunity for them to learn, to grow, to change, to become better. The hardest lesson my hands are still trying to teach me is when to let go. It's pretty easy to know when you're shaking hands, but it's less straightforward when you've reached out to someone for information or when someone else has reached out to you out of need. Dan Hagen also taught me that once you have touched an athlete and established a physical connection, do everything that you can to maintain that connection for the sake of the athlete. I've seen firsthand that breaking the connection too soon and letting go of the other athlete increases the risk of losing that athlete to shock, unconsciousness, panic attacks, or sometimes even worse. My hands and the hands of others are key to guiding me through the world. I encourage each of you to let your hands and the hands around you open a few more doors and windows. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.